Okay, I look a hot mess, but you know what? You look how you feel. Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today we are going to do something similar yet different. So I have been and am still feeling under the weather, but I wanted to film something today. And I have a couple other videos that I want to try to fit in over the next couple of days too. Today we're going to talk about TBR. I have another video that I'm going to be filming hopefully tomorrow, which is going to be about my reading plans for 2024. So that will go more in depth about like everything that I want to, like all my reading plans for this year and some video plans that I have for this year as well. So I will go over that more in detail then. But one of the things that I'm gonna mention in that video is that I am not going to be I'm not going to be doing monthly TBRs anymore, just because this past year I ended up feeling very discouraged about them and just feeling like I wasn't really meeting them, or I was putting pressure on myself. No, it just wasn't working. So instead what I'm going to be trying to do is make I've seen other people do this, a seasonal TBR. So books that I want to try to get to over a season, so like over a couple of months. Since we're already into winter, this will obviously cover January and February reads. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's the same because it's a TBR, but it's a little bit different because it's for January and February. I have a lot of books surrounding me that I would like to potentially get to over the next couple of months. Some of them, actually, I lied. None of them I think are particularly, well, one of them is wintry. Everything else not so much. And that is just basically because I am going off of what genres I'm normally in the mood for in the colder months, and that is mystery, which I'm honestly in the mood for any time of the year, but I tend to really enjoy them in the colder months, and also fantasy. I'm usually more in the mood, I think, a lot of the time to read fantasy in the winter. So I have a stack of fantasy books here. I got a couple of classics. I have a couple of mysteries. I also have a couple of nonfiction, because that is the new thing that I'm going to be doing this year. Previously I had focused on nightstand of shame books, so books that I set aside and need to come back to. And then I also had classics. Well, my unread classics shelf is mostly under control. I still have a few that I need to get through, but it's looking a sight better than it was. And now my unread nonfiction is out of control. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on this coming year, is trying to plow through more nonfiction, and I have a whole list of priority nonfiction and stuff like that that'll go into in my reading plans video. So I don't continue to ramble, let's just get into these books here. So a couple of the ones in here are also nightstand of shame books. But yeah. First book that I really am going to focus on and try to get through over the next couple of months is The Count of Monte Cristo, Battles Into Dumas. I love this book. It's one of my favorite books of all time. I just read it, like, not last year, but the year before. Loved it. Instant all-time favorite. And as you can see, I started rereading it, partly because I just wanted to reread it, and partly also because I wanted to reread and then annotate it for a video. I'm hoping to come out with, I was hoping to have it in December, but that just didn't happen, so I'm hoping to have it up either this month in January, or maybe February if things don't quite go the way I want. Another classic that I really want to get to is also from my nightstand of shame, and it is The Scarlet Pimpernel by Baroness Orczy. I'm on chapter 6, and this is another book that I really want to get to. I did want to try to squeeze in another classic this winter, and even though I was kind of leaning towards maybe picking up Dickens, I do think I'm going to save Dickens for the spring or the summer, because the next one I pick up is probably going to be Great Expectations, and yeah, I think I'm going to save it for then. But I do really desperately want to finish this book. It is really interesting. I don't know why I stopped reading it. I just kind of did. I haven't been telling you what any of these books are about, have I? Count of Monte Cristo is a classic tale of revenge. Guy has a wonderful life, is imprisoned wrongfully, manages to escape, and then plots out his revenge against the people who ruined his life. Love it. Story after my own heart. And then The Scarlet Pimpernel is about a mysterious figure called the Scarlet Pimpernel, who is working behind the scenes like a vigilante, which also love a vigilante. And he is this mysterious figure who is trying to save, I think mostly women and children from the guillotine, because the French Revolution is happening, and he's trying to like squirrel them away from being murdered. Maybe he also saves guys too, but I think for the most part so far it's just been women and children. I have a couple of Nightstand of Shame books, the first of which is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It was recently suggested to me that maybe I should settle down in front of a fire with a glass of chilled vodka and read this, which was a very good suggestion. I don't think I have any straight up regular vodka because it hurts me. But I do have caramel vodka. So I have been thinking that is a good, even though maybe that's not exactly the vodka recommended, I was thinking that if I mix that with a little bit of like, I don't know, something, nice cool drink, settle down and read this. We don't have a fire either, but I do like to listen to various ASMRs when I'm having a hard time getting into a book. I like to put those on. So crackling fire on a blizzardy night, that's one of my favorite ones. I will probably do that, especially since it hasn't blizzard. We haven't had any snow here, which is depressing, but yeah, that's my plans for getting through this puppy. This is about a girl named, oh my goodness, what is her name? Vassia. It's about Vassia. She grew up learning the old ways. Unfortunately, her dear mother passed when she was younger, and her father is recently married this new woman who is extremely ultra religious and does not approve of the old ways and will not allow them to be practiced. And Vassia has to hide like her abilities and different things, and unfortunately, because the old ways are not being honored, it sounds like there might be like forest spirits or like just very dangerous things that want their tributes or want their whatever done that's not getting done, and has put them all in a dangerous situation. Is kind of the vibe that I'm getting from this. Because I'm me, and because the stepmother sounds like a terrible person, I'm kind of hoping that something comes out of the forest and eats her. But we shall see what happens. I think this is based off of a particular, I know it's like got some Russian folklore mixed up in here, different things going on. I'm just not 100% sure what the folklore is. I don't really read a lot of Russian folklore, to be honest, but yeah, want to get this one of the top priority ones for this year, actually, as well. Other Nightstand of Shame books that I have, this one that you guys probably haven't seen ever, It is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. It's the first book in another fantasy trilogy. I've actually borrowed this trilogy from a friend, and I really need to finish reading it and actually get it back to her at some point. I know, but yeah, this is book one in a trilogy that is based off of the Seven Swans fairy tale, which is actually a fairy tale I really enjoyed growing up. But yeah, this is the first in a fantasy trilogy. There's no bookmark in it because I got like a chapter or so in like 4 or 5 years ago and then just never continued. So I decided, I don't even remember what I read, so I'm just going to start from the beginning. Speaking of trilogies, I desperately need to finish reading the Shades of Magic trilogy. I have read A Darker Shade of Magic twice, adored it both times, and both times have not managed to finish reading the trilogy. Partially because I get in and out of moods of reading fantasy so quickly, and also partially because I haven't really enjoyed the endings of the last couple of E. Schwab books that I've read, both of which were standalones, but then I also finished another trilogy of hers, and I did not enjoy the ending of that either, so now I'm like afraid that she can't stick the landing, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm just worried that I'm not gonna like the ending of this trilogy, which is gonna like really make me mad because I really like the characters a lot. So I'm just being unfair and worrying about the end of this trilogy when I really don't know if it'll be really good or not. But yeah, I just need to get over it and read it, and I'm really gonna try to make myself do it this year because I did love the first book so much, and I did last year get partway into A Gathering of Shadows, which is book 2. I have my little Nico bookmark is still in here on page 45. This trilogy, how do I explain this? There's different versions of London. There's Grey London, which is our world. There's Red London. These main characters live, for the most, well, one of them's from Grey London. There's White London, which has something really terrible happen there because of a war that had happened previously, and there's Black London, which is of a legend, but then there's some main characters, one of which is able to use blood magic, finds relics from Black London, and shit gets real. There's a pirate subplot going on. There's just really great magic thing. There's like a adopted family element. There's like very complicated things happening, and the little bit of it does seem to be political, and I'm not usually a fan of political intrigue and stuff like that, but it's not too heavy on that, and also the characters are so fascinating. I love Kel a lot. I think Kel is the best. Lila is also pretty great. And the prince is also, I find him absolutely delightful. Just really delightful. But yeah, so I don't think I'm gonna reread Darker Shade of Magic because I don't want to like stall out. I think I'm just gonna hop right into A Gathering of Shadows, and then finish off with the third book, A Conjuring of Light. Other fantasy that I want to get to, there's The Dragon by Stephen King. I started this, I'm on chapter 8. I started it in December, early on, realized how captivating it was and how much I desperately wanted to read this, and was like, I can't because my life will become this book until it's done, and I have a lot of shit to do. So I set it aside. And next to, I think, Count of Monte Cristo and Bear and the Nightingale, this is one of my priority reads for the month. I might actually devote a weekend just to reading this because I once I get back into this book, I'm not going to stop until I'm done with it, because it's just pulled me right in, and it's fascinating. There's already a character I want to punch in the teeth. It's a good time. This is about fantasy of dark magic and the struggle for absolute power to transform the destinies of two brothers born into royalty. Yeah. Also, I would like to get back into the Trials of Apollo. I did not finish reading The Hidden Oracle. I'm on page 75, so I would at least like to get through book 1 over the next couple of months, and hopefully at least get maybe through book 2 as well. We'll see how this goes. Then the last one for fantasy that I want to get to is The Never Tilting World by Rin Chupeco. There's a couple of other fantasy books that I really wanted to read right now, but based on like the setting and things going on in them, I'm kind of considering saving them for like maybe the summertime. But this one I really want to get to right now. Basically, let me see, it's been a while since I looked at the synopsis. There's generations of twin goddesses who have ruled this world. Until 17 years ago, one sister's betrayal defied an ancient prophecy and split the world in two. Planet ceased to spin, 3/4 of the world perished. A great abyss divides the planet, one side cloaked in perpetual night, the other scorched beneath an unrelenting sun, while one sister rules Aranth, the frozen city surrounded by storm-racked sea. Her twin inhabits the sandlocked golden city. Each goddess has raised a daughter, and each goddess keeps her own secrets about the past. But when spectral forces summon those daughters to the site of the breaking, the two young goddesses, along with a powerful healer from Aranth and a mouthy desert scavenger, we know that one's probably going to be my favorite, set out on separate journeys across treacherous wastelands, desperate to heal their broken world, no matter the sacrifice it demands. You basically had me at mouthy desert scavenger. As for mysteries that I want to get to, I have a couple of rereads that I really want to get to for a video. The first of which is Murder in the Orient Express by Agatha Christie, which also has the loveliness of being a wintry kind of read, because it's about Poirot getting stuck on a snowbound train with a bunch of other passengers, and then a murder happens and he has to solve it. Locked room. Love a good locked room mystery. Love a good Poirot. And then I also want to reread The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin, which is a middle grade mystery and is following a whole bunch of very interesting characters as they are all brought together at this apartment building they all move into, and their stories are all kind of, and lives are all kind of interconnected. They're all pulled into this game to win a whole bunch of money. A game involving a will of this very rich, eccentric man who's just recently passed away. This mystery was my first big mystery. Like, this was my first grown-up mystery. This is my first Agatha Christie. This was my first mystery that wasn't Nancy Drew or Wishbone related. So it was like a big deal to me when I was a kid. So yeah, I'm gonna be also rereading that. I have another couple of Agatha Christies. Like I said, I feel like mystery a lot in the colder months. I'm not really sure which one I'm going to get to, or if I'll get to both of them. I imagine that both of these are probably going to be my lunchtime reads that I bring with me to work. The first of which is Why Didn't They Ask Evans? Which, let me see, fun-loving adventures, Bobby Jones and Francis Derwent's suspicions are aroused when a handsome stranger plummets to his death from a cliff nearby. The man's dying words are, why didn't they ask Evans? And the two want to find out, well, who the hell is Evans and why didn't they ask what? So it's a very mysterious inquiry that brings them into a bit of danger. There's also a movie adaptation of this that I really want to see when I finish reading this. And then there's also Black Coffee, which actually was, I think, a play first and was adapted by Charles Osborne. So I'm partially iffy about this just because this might be controversial, but I really don't like the Sophie Hannah books. I've only read the first one and it made me angry. So I haven't read any of the others, but I'm a little iffy when people take Agatha Christie's works and fuck around with them. But because this was a play of Christie's and this guy just basically turned it into a novel, I think that's fairly promising. Maybe it won't piss me off as much, and it'll be pretty good, I'm hoping anyway. But this one is basically sending Poirot rushing to a sprawling country estate because this physicist fears a member of his own household wants to steal a secret formula destined for the Ministry of Defense. Poirot arrives too late, the formula is missing, and the physicist has been poisoned by his after-dinner coffee. So now Poirot is pulled into the mystery. Yeah, so there's a couple they'll probably try to get through. And then this is the one that I'm very excited for right now. I've been keeping this by my nightstand because I'm like, I want to get into it. I want to get into it so bad, but then I keep putting aside because of other things I need to get to or want to get to. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. And it is Murder in Memoriam by Didier Dienenek. I swear to God, I keep saying I'm going to figure out how to pronounce this gentleman's name, and I promise I will figure this out by the time I've done reading this. This is a mystery novel that is actually based on real life events that happened. This is following the aftermath of an event that happened in Paris. In 1961, 20,000 Algerians marched in peaceful protest against a curfew that was placed upon them, and they were met with terrible police violence. 11,000 were arrested, more than 1,000 injured, 300 were killed. Records were buried. 20 years later, a young man named Bernard, whose father, who was a history teacher, was assumed swept up with the violent altercation, never made it home. Bernard decides to reopen his dad's research, which is a history of his hometown, which is known as a site in which Jews were deported to Auschwitz. When Bernard is also killed, the police inspector Cadine suspects a connection, but why would anyone want to kill two history teachers 20 years apart? Basically, this is like a huge thing. It says that this confronts two of the darkest chapters in French history, colonial racism and complicity in genocide. It was published more than a decade before the French government's public admission of the crimes led to the shocking downfall of one of their most legendary public officials. So this book is a fucking big deal. I had never heard of it before, never heard of this author before. Even just looking, by forgetting the past, we condemn ourselves to relive it. Oh, man. Love it. Even just reading, normally when I read a book, when I'm thinking about picking up a book and it's by an author that I've never read before, I always read the first 1 to 2 pages just to see how I feel about the writing style and see, is this something that I might be down with? Okay. And I was pulled in. I made it onto chapter, I made it into page 3 or 4 by the time I was like, yo, I need to, I'm getting this book, obviously. So, yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I think the topic is obviously going to be kind of tough because it's covering 2 very not great chapters in French history, but desperately want to read this because I think that this is going to be really fascinating. And I mean, a book that brought about the downfall of a public official, well, fuck yeah, I want to read that book. Yes. So I have nonfiction I want to start making a priority in 2024. So I got 4 nonfiction books right here. Two of them are because I don't know which one I will get to this couple of months, or maybe I'll get to both of them. They're not that long, so we'll see. But they're both by Nellie Bly. One of them, 10 Days in a Madhouse, is the book that put her on the map, basically, and this is also one of my nonfiction priority reads for this year. This is a first-hand account of life at Bellevue Hospital on Blackwell's Island in 1887, and this was Nellie's first, like, big-time reporting job when she went undercover at Bellevue Hospital to investigate some rumors that had been had about terrible mistreatment and things that were going on at the institution. Because every time officials would show up, oh, everything's fine, but people are still ending up missing or dead or shit's not great. So yeah, she made herself out to be hysterical, gets herself placed in the institution, and was able to squirrel out reports to her boss, then publish them. And yeah, I really want to read this. I find Nellie Bly, I've listened to 3 different podcast episodes about her at this point, and I also grew up, I didn't really hear that much about her, but I did read some little kid, like, summary version of her career or whatever when I was a kid, and found her just fascinating. So, yeah, I'll get through that, and then I also have, if I feel like I don't want to read that, or if I don't get to that, I also have Around the World in 72 Days, which is another thing that made her pretty huge, when she set out across the world to beat Phileas Fogg's fictional record, and she did it. So there's those 2 books, and then another couple of books that I think just feel kind of cozy for this time of year. One is definitely the coziest, and that is The Little Book of Hygge, which is Danish Secrets to Happy Living by Mike Viking, the CEO of the Happiness Research Institute of Copenhagen. And this is a cozy book that I bought at a Nordic shop in Mystic Village. I set this aside for the express purpose of saving this for, like, January time, a time when I haven't always been like a seasonal depression kind of person, but frankly the past few months have been just mentally fucking rough. So I'm really genuinely looking forward to picking up this book and reading this, especially because it does feel really kind of sad right now. I feel like I'd feel maybe slightly less sad if there was at least some snow on the ground or on the trees and things looked pretty instead of like this brown, gray, disgusting yuckiness that we have going on right now. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to picking this up and looking at this. I did flip through it initially when I was trying to decide if I wanted to buy it, and I really liked the different things that it kind of goes into. It talks about togetherness, food and drink, clothing, home, hygge outside the home, hygge all year round, hygge on the cheap. It talks about like Copenhagen, Christmas, summer, hygge, just everything, and just kind of trying to help you have a feeling more of happiness in your life. So really looking forward to picking this one up as well. And then the last book that I'm going to try to get to over the next couple of months is Homework, a memoir of my Hollywood years by Julie Andrews and Emma Walton Hamilton. I love Julie Andrews. She just sounds like, I don't know, I think she always sounds like a fairy godmother or someone so sweet. It's probably because of everything that I watched growing up. But I've heard mixed reviews about this memoir, but I really find her fascinating. I'd like to know more about her life and her work and stuff. And I also thought that this was perfect for this time of year too, because I have been feeling like I wanted to. It's been a long time since I've done a watch of Sound of Music, which used to be a comfort watch of mine. But I don't know. When my grandma passed, it kind of got rough to watch it, just because that was something that we watched together a lot. But I've been really wanting to try to do a rewatch of that at some point soon. So I figured it would be a good time. Also part of hygge and being comfort is to just get all in a comforting blanket and just sit through that movie and, learn more about an actress who, I don't know, feels like has been a huge part of my childhood throughout like a bunch of movies and things I grew up watching. So, yeah. That is basically everything that I am hoping to potentially get to over the next couple of months. Wish me luck, because this is a lot of different things, but it doesn't feel as overwhelming because, like I said, this is going to be over a couple of months. And, yeah, it's just what I hope to get to. If you guys have ever read any of these, let me know how you felt about them, but no spoilers, please, of course. And if you're excited to hear me talk about any of them, I mean, definitely let me know about that as well, and I'll try to put them a little bit higher up on my priority. I mean, other than the couple that definitely have to be higher up, but yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for always watching. If you're new here and would like to subscribe, please do so. I promise that I do have more energy sometimes. I'm just still not feeling great. But anyway, I hope you guys are having a wonderful week or weekend or wherever you guys are at right now. And I hope you're having, I'm hoping to get this up on like New Year's Day-ish. So hopefully you all have had a lovely New Year's and are having a great start to your 2024. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next time.